Welcome, everyone. We are truly excited to be with you today for our webinar on Boolean search, the backbone of internet-based sourcing and finding those hidden talent gems. My name is Lisa Panarello. I'm the founder of Careers Advance, a private practice specializing in professional training development. And I'm the board vice president and program director of Staffing Management Association, a specialty chapter of SHRM dedicated to recruiters and talent acquisition specialists. Who is that? All of you. And I'll be your host for today's event, which we're bringing to you in a slightly different format than usual. We've hosted highly informative speaker presentations and dynamic panel discussions. Today, we have a very, very special guest who will deliver an interactive, hands-on training. So get ready to get involved. Now, a quick note before we begin, our program is being recorded, so you'll receive it next week so you can reinforce what you learned and catch anything you missed. Now, here to kick things off, I'm honored to introduce Mike Cohen. He's our SMA president, current account executive at CTG, and former business development manager of Volt Technical Resources and K-Force Technology Staffing. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey, everybody. It's so good to see you all. I know a lot of regulars here and a lot of new faces, which is really exciting. I know for me, I'm really excited about this topic. Boolean search is a skill that unfortunately is not talked about as much as it should be. I know it's, as a technical recruiter myself, I find it invaluable in terms of from the agency side, competing with other agencies or the in-house recruiters here, finding the best talent to steal them away from your competition. It's absolutely vital in saving you time, finding the best candidates, having very valuable conversations with folks that have the skill set that you need for your organization. So really excited to see what's in store for us today. Appreciate everybody joining. I think this is just another great example of our SMA's commitment to really delivering the best content for recruiters and talent acquisition professionals in New Jersey. Really excited for our speaker today and looking forward to the meeting.
Sweet.
Thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate that. Now, our guest speaker is Mike Cohen. He's the founder of Wayne Technologies. And he's going to provide more details about himself in a little bit. But I'd like to say that throughout his career, he's been committed to paying it forward. His mantra is, there's no secret sauce. We should all be sharing skills, tips, and tricks. And that is what we're in for today. Mike is going to lead us through a hands-on training of Boolean tactics, such as how to set up basic and intermediate commands to refine results, how to X-ray searches through social media platforms, and even utilize Boolean on LinkedIn and LinkedIn Recruiter. And that all leads to learning how to engage with targeted talent communities, right? Speaking of engagement, the key to today's event success is your involvement. So don't be shy. Please ask and answer questions in the chat. When Mike is going to reach out to you personally, you can unmute yourselves, put your camera on, and really dive deep with him so he can tailor his program to your needs as much as possible and help us all walk away with new strategies for connecting with hidden gems. Without further ado, take us away, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, welcome everybody. Good to see y'all. I'm gonna go through an intro like real quick because I have a lot of data here. I want to kind of reiterate what Lisa said. This is really interactive. I promise. I do Boolean search every day. I don't need this. I'm doing this solely with the intent of helping you. There are 6 slides total, which we're going to get through in like 45 seconds. So the entire day today is going to be spent focused on your understanding of Boolean and then kind of working through some actual searches. I don't have any searches prepared. I want to search live on the stuff that you guys are currently working on to kind of show you how I would go about it in each of these different segments that we're going to cover. So first question I'd like to ask, you guys can pop this in the chat. 2 questions. Number 1, do you currently use any Boolean in your search strings? And then the second is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being how do you pronounce Boolean, 10 being I'm an expert at this. Where do you guys think you fall on this? So do you use Boolean on daily or semi-daily basis, and scale of 1 to 10, where you guys at? Can you throw that in the chat, please, so I know who we're talking to? Because if everybody is a 9 or a 10, it's going to drastically change my approach to this presentation. And I'll wait a few seconds. All right, cool. I've got 2 of you. That's great. 3. All right, Becky, I see you. I love this. And thanks, nobody, for coming in here and be like, I'm like a 9, 9.5. I'm like, really? I'm like a 9, 9.5 too. So this is going to be great. Cool. Mike, 7. Great. Okay, cool, guys. So I think we've got a pretty good idea of where we're at. I'm going to start pretty basic and then kind of ramp through. The way I do this typically is to share my screen like this. If this is too hard to read, please let me know, and I can do a traditional screen share without my little face in the bottom right. So guys, we're gonna get real nerdy today. This is like the nerdiest part of the entire recruiting process, I promise. So a little bit about me. I am the founder of Wayne Technologies. We're sourcing subject matter experts. We do sourcing on demand. I love speaking at conferences. Training and giving back to the community is my #1 calling. That's in life, not just in recruitment. I'm actually in seminary. My dream is to be a pastor and plant a church. I know if you're wondering, last name Cohen, how does that work? Long story. To that end, I'm also a cycling instructor. The other thing I like about conference talks is being the center of attention. Cycling instructor is basically the world's best center of attention because I get to tell people what to do and listen to my music. I do love pushing limits in what I do. And I think this is important because it's going to be something that we're going to run into and bump into with Boolean a lot. I had run the New York Marathon and I did a half Ironman. And if you're wondering, oh, that's cool, if you saw me in person, you'd go, oh, really? I'm not 6'2" and skinny. So the reason that's important is this is going to be really difficult for a bunch of people in the beginning. And I just want to own that with you guys. So if it's like, holy crap, this is like, I'm not getting this. Yeah, that makes sense. That's how it's supposed to be in the beginning. That's why a lot of folks don't do this. It should feel difficult. I love memes and GIFs, so if you want to reach out to me and you want to guarantee a response, put a GIF or a meme in the email. I will always respond. I am a dog lover. These are my puppies, Blue and Honey. If you are also a dog lover, feel free to share your puppy pictures. And I'm a really blessed husband. My wife is a badass. She's on Broadway for a little bit after college, and now she's a principal at Mercer HR. So she kind of rocks. And I'm a big fan of the idea of being flawsome. So we're all totally messed up, and that's totally cool. We're still awesome, not in spite of it, but because of it. So that's me. I will reiterate, I'm actually tracking the chat in this. So if anybody has questions, do not wait for the end. There will not be question time at the end. I promise you, we will not have question time at the end. Interrupt me, either unmute yourself and physically interrupt me. I'm from New York. I get it. That's how I communicate. Or put it in the chat. I am watching in real time. I have 4 monitors. So if you see me darting my eyes around, it's not just my ADHD. I'm actually looking at different screens to get different examples for notes. It's also my ADHD. So my slide is too small. Anybody else having that same share issue?
I think it's a setting on everyone's computer. It's full on my screen, so you might have to change your own setting.
Okay, cool. If there are multiple people saying that, please let me know and I can try and adjust it. This is just generally the easiest way. That way you can still see me because I'm Italian and I talk with my hands a lot. And so I want to try to make sure you can do that.
If I can interrupt there just to solve that, Mike, you had said it was small on your end. I said it's large on my end. So what did you change in your setting to make it right?
You clicked on speaker view in the top right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks. Well, that's cool. Thanks, Mike. That's dope. I'll have to remember that for future. Okay, guys.
The whole presentation.
Yes. Let's jump into this. So here's what we're going to cover. It's 3 things. We're going to spend most of the time on the first 2. If we have time, we're going to jump into the last one. Before I jump into the third one, I just want to know who's actually using LinkedIn Recruiter, because if it's not the majority of you guys, I'm not going to waste our time kind of going through that data. So at some point, if you can share if you use LinkedIn Recruiter, that'd be cool. If not, Don't worry about it. I'll either get to it or we won't get to it. So, okay, cool. We're all on the Blue Devil. That's wonderful. Sorry, LinkedIn. Yay. Okay, cool. So, guys, this is not slides. This is really honestly going to be super focused on us taking notes together. So the first thing I want to cover, and I'll make this a little bit bigger for us here, is the basic statements around Boolean. So if you're taking notes, great. This is recorded. I'm also going to share with you the sheet that I have that has all the Boolean operators on it. So you guys will have access to this. And I will also share with you a builder. So like, don't freak out if you're not getting everything down for every one of these. So I'm going to start and go through this and basically say, cool. So do we know how we're using an and statement? I know this seems basic. We'll get through it really quick. I promise. I just need some audience interaction. How are we doing with this? And this is a part where we interact with each other and I go, cool. Do we know what and means as a Boolean operator? This is going to mean both of the terms. Okay, I'll answer for you guys. Don't worry about it. So I only have an hour. Yes. Fantastic. Thanks, Debbie. Or now people go, has to have one of the terms, right? Has to have one of the terms. The problem with this is it's not inclusive. It actually means has to have one of the terms or both, right? So we want to make sure that for these, we're understanding how this is written. And now I'm going to show you an example of what a Boolean string with these basic terms looks like. So I want to run a search on, let's say I'm in the titles section of LinkedIn Recruiter, and I want to find someone who does software and engineer. Okay, basic string. This is going to return software engineer. I'll write it separately down here. So software engineer, engineer of software stuff, software development engineer, et cetera. So what is this saying? And this is really important that we understand this. It's just saying that this term and this term have to be present in whatever field we're searching on. So why is this so important? Because this is where most people get super focused in on the word and not the term. So when you think of the word software and engineer, you're thinking of a title right in your head right now. You're like, oh, it's a software engineer. Okay, it's not. You're talking, you're actually talking to a computer. I'll pull that back up in 1 second. You're talking to a computer. And the computer doesn't understand that you're looking for a title called software engineer. It understands that you're looking for SOFTWARE and ENGINEER. That's it. They're not titles. They don't have any meaning. They are words. I'm going to repeat this 2 or 3 more times during this presentation, because as we get deeper into Boolean, this concept is really going to change the way you're able to search. So if we now add and we go, we want to look for engineer or developer, what will this return? And I know, guys, this is going to be real basic for a bunch of you. We're going to move through this. This will return anybody whose title is ready. Software engineer, software developer, civil engineer, developer of weird toys for kids and stuff, right? Like any of this is going to come back because it has this word or it has this word. These are just terms. They don't mean anything. That's why something like this can come back. Are we still tracking? Anybody have any questions? Should and or be in caps? Mike, great question. Yes. So all of these terms that you see here, and, or, not, and then as we get down, there's another one called around. All of them have to be in caps. It is the way that the computer reads the difference between the word and or the command and. Hopefully that makes sense. Are parentheses not needed anymore? Mike, that's a great question. We're going to get right into parentheses in like 45 seconds. The short answer is yes, depends on when though. So hopefully everybody can read this because the font is big enough. I'm going to zoom out just a smidge. There we go. So the next statement we have is not. It's going to surprise people, but like can't contain these words. This is real important right here. So if you search for, let's say, software, not architect. I'm working on a software role. Sorry, it's what's in my brain right now. That means that what will appear? Software engineer, software hater, doer of software stuff. What will not appear? Software architect. This will not appear because it has the word architect in it. Doesn't matter where the word architect appears. If this appears in whatever area you're searching, when you have not architect, this will not show up. Very important. Again, not a title. These are just the letters A-R-C-H-I-T-E-C-T in that order. Okay. Brief pause. These are the foundational building blocks of Boolean. Do we have any questions? Fantastic. Moving on to the next level down. Now we're going to talk about building strings. Strings are when we have multiple operators and, or, and not in one statement.
Mike, I have a quick question just back on that. Can you search multiple terms such as software engineer, not architect? Or is it always single word not or single word or?
So you can 100% search multiple terms. That's what we're going to literally get into right now, is that idea of multiple operators, right? And, or, and not are Boolean operators or commands. And we can put multiple in one string to really hone our search. So here's what it's going to look like if you have an, I definitely don't want to keep typing in that font. If you have and statement with an or statement. Okay. So I want, how about software and either ready, developer or engineer. Okay. So can someone tell me some examples of titles that this is going, if I put this in the title section, what is this going to return? Give me some examples. Just type it in the chat. Yeah. Thanks, Becky. Software developer. That's right. What else? Software engineer. Great. What else? Give me some, go for some crazy examples. You can get crazy with it. And this is where it's going to be really, really important. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. That's great. Lisa, that's great, right? Developer of software stuff, software application engineer, right? Maybe even spell the word right. So guys, ready for this? Blue, 12, software, and sometimes doing gaming engineer stuff. This is going to appear. Why? Because the engineer who used to work with software, yeah, Christine, that's exactly right. So what does this statement right here mean? It means that this word has to be present and either this word or this word. Does this make sense? So I'm going to take this. Good. Now I'm going to give you some examples, and I just want you to type yes or no whether you think this will appear. So if we did software, architect, and dev, will this show up if this is my search string? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay, cool. I see mostly no's in here. Why? It has to have this word. Yep, it does. And it has to have either this word or this word. And does it? No. It has the word dev, but remember, you're assigning that this means developer. It doesn't. This means D-E-V. That's it. That's all that means. And this doesn't mean developer. It means D-E-V-E-L-O-P-E-R. So this would not show up. Next one, we're going to do development software engineer. Will this show up? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you guys are nailing it. Why? It has the word software and has one of these two, has engineer. Okay, last one. Ready? Software development engineering. Will this one show up? No. Why not? Can someone explain real quick? You need a wild card. Mike, it's funny you say that. We're going to have a fun conversation about that in a second. So why won't this show up though, right? Because it's saying I want a developer or an engineer, right? So why isn't this going to show up? I didn't define it. The words aren't present. Exactly. Yeah, Christine, I think that's probably going to be the best way to put it. These terms, exactly as they're written, are not present down here. So while we may define this as a title, they're just words. So that's great, guys. I think we've got a firm grasp on this. What we're going to cover next are these operators of the parentheses and the quotation marks. And I'll zoom in a bit just so you can see them. Quotation marks, parentheses, and then we'll touch on wildcard, but you guys are going to be really, really disappointed when I go over that. Mike, you in particular, and you'll see why. It's super sad what they've done with it recently. So let's look at parentheses. Parentheses are used to group or statements together. That's it. That's their only use case. If you do not have or statements, you do not need parentheses. If you do not have a combination of and or not, and an or statement, you do not need parentheses. What do I mean? I know you're just like, what the heck is he talking about right now? So here we go. Zoom out just a little here. So if I said software, and I'm going to do something different. Software engineers are killing me. Financial and analyst and CPA. I don't need to put parentheses around this because you're telling the computer, I want to see this word and this word and this word, or I'm not going to show you the result. Okay. Now, what may happen is, what if you did financial and analyst or, I don't know, engineer? So we can read this statement right here in a couple of different ways. If we read it left to right, what if it could be interpreted this way? I want to see financial and analyst or the word engineer. Right? That's technically how this could read. I want both of these or just this one word. And that's obviously not what we want, because the word engineer will return gosh knows what, right, as we go through it. So how do we make sure the computer knows exactly what we want? This is where we're going to put the parentheses here. Because now our or statement is grouped. Now the computer knows, oh, you want the word financial and one of these two words, not the word financial and the word analyst or this word. Does this make sense? I need to pause on this. Yeah, Lisa, you're totally right? I think of PEMDAS every time I look at this again. And if you don't remember PEMDAS, just to get like super nerdy with you, it's parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. It's the order of operations. Super nerd moment. So thanks, Lisa. So guys, do we understand how and why we're going to use parentheses? And do not be afraid to say no on this one, because we're going to, the parentheses are what's going to make it that we can make really long strings. Great. So then pop quiz real quick. We're going to do this. Ready? We're going to do financial or finance or accounting or accountant as a phrase. Where do we put the parentheses here? Y'all can also just unmute. Beginning and, okay. Anybody else? Any ideas on this? Yeah, Becky, cool. You don't need it. Why? Because the computer is going to read this as this word or this word or this word or this word, period. Once you put parentheses around it, it reads it as this word or this word or this word or this word. There's no difference. Now, what if you had this exact statement and you said, and engineer Yeah, let's do it that way. Now, where do we put our parentheses? You can unmute, you can join. At the beginning,
After accountant.
and after accountant. Okay, cool. Bruce, why? I love that. Thank you for jumping in. Why are we putting it here?
Because you want engineer and one of those three statements, or one of those four terms.
Yes, exactly right. We want to make sure that we're getting one of these four and the word engineer. Okay, ready? We're going to mix this up now. And engineer or analyst. Where do we put our parentheses?
Around engineer and analyst.
Okay. Where else?
And before financial and after accountant.
Boom. Bruce, can you explain one more time? Thank you for chiming in here. Why?
Because you got any one of 7 different combinations now.
Bingo. Exactly right. One of these 4 words has to be there, and one of these 2 words has to be there. So very, very well done. Cool. We understand parentheses, guys. We are trucking along.
Thanks. Now I do.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Next thing we're going to cover, quotation marks. And I'm going to make these really big just so we can see them. Quotation marks. So what do quotation marks mean? Quotation marks mean that whatever is between them appears exactly as it's written. Okay, so what do I mean when I say that? I mean, if I'm searching for, ready, we're going to use a weird example. What can we do? Let's do an HR search. So we're going to do human resources or HR. Now, human resources technically is 2 different terms, right? It's the word human and the word resources because it's a computer. It reads it HUMAN and then a separate term, RESOURCES. So based on this, would this term come, or would this search come up? Human, person, of stuff. Technically, it could because it's just this term. And we don't know if the computer is only going to look for both of these in this order. So how do we make sure that it does? Put some quotes around it. Quotes serve 2 purposes. Okay, 2 purposes. Group multiple terms together in one term, or search exact phrases, no word stemming. And I'll explain what that is in a second.
Do you need the parentheses there, Mike?
No, I sure don't.
Okay.
Great call. Thanks. Lisa gets it. Killing it. Love this, guys. Cool. So human resources or HR. Whatever appears here has to appear exactly as it's written. So let's make this a little bit more complicated because now we're getting real proficient at this. And benefits or compensation. God, I hated working on this role. And we want to do, will these appear? Ready? If we have HR, manager, benefits, and comp. Will this term appear? I told you guys, super interactive. Yes. Yes, it will. Yeah, great, right? Because it has HR and benefits. It's all it really needed. Okay. Now, what if it has resources, manager of compensation, and benefits? Will this term appear based on this? Okay. I think this one's going to be a real quick one. Why not? Because it doesn't have that. Okay, now ready? What about now?
Yes.
Mike, I saw you shake your head no. Why?
Gonna have to be in order because you put an exact term.
Bingo. Yes, and Clara, the order of words. So check this out, guys. If you put it between the quotes, it has to appear, ready? Not as the words human resources. It has to appear exactly Human space Resources. They're not, remember, they're not words. I could run this search also and go, and that will still run. They're not words. So we have to get away from the idea that these are words and titles that we're searching for. They're just phrases. So as long as this exact phrase, which hopefully doesn't appear on anybody's profile, is there, this will show up. Does this make sense? And if I put a space here and a space here, this has to show up exactly like this. What does that mean? That means, will this show up? Will that show up?
No.
Why?
Because it doesn't appear exactly. You don't have spaces the way
Bingo.
you have in the proxy.
A space is a character. A semicolon is a character. A period is a character. A dash, a number. They're all characters. So it has to appear exactly what's in between the quotes. Does this make sense? Do we have any questions about parentheses or quotation marks? We will use, or quotes. We will use this in every one of our searches moving forward. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask it. Okay, here we go. Sliding along. This is for Mike. This is gonna be super disappointing for you as it was for me when I discovered this. Let's look at the wild card. So this is called a wild card. Do capital letters matter? They do not. Great question, Clara. Boolean, the only time capital letters matter is for the commands themselves. If you put it inside of quotes, this right here is the exact same thing as this. The fact that the S and G are capitalized does not matter. It will still show up.
Is that the only exception for exactness?
Without getting too far down into the weeds, no. The only other exception is there are certain platforms where a dash or a period can be treated the same way as a space. I don't want to get like too far into the weeds about that, but like it's the only other example that I can give you where it'd be like software engineer is the same thing as software engineer is the same thing as software engineer, but it's platform specific. So like there's some that do, there's some that don't. LinkedIn, I think, will give you this, but won't give you this one. So I wouldn't stress too far about that. That's the only other example where it's different.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So a wild card. All right, Mike, ready to get disappointed with me? Here we go. What is, or excuse me. Oh, sorry. One quick question from Becky. What about commas to use multiple words, or do you always have to use and? Always have to use and. Always. Now, that's where if you have multiple words, right? If you said, I want the word blue and yellow and 7 to appear, there are two ways to do this. You can either go blue and yellow and 7, or if you only need one of the three words to appear, that's when you would do your or statement. And throw these in here, right? And put an and before it. So now you're saying I want one of the three, or you just replace all these and they're and statements. So commas, no go. All right, Mike, here we go. Wild card. What did it used to do?
Add multiple endings to the stem word.
Endings to the stem word, yeah. So stay on with me here. In this example, what would this return?
Engineering, engineered,
Yep.
engine.
Yep. What else? Give me something crazy.
Engelhart.
English.
Engelhart. Yeah, I love that. English. Yeah, all of these, right? Okay. This is so sad. England. Yeah, exactly right. You guys really went on that English route. Good on you, Christine and Lisa. So guys, this is not the case anymore. It literally doesn't do this. everybody. I know LinkedIn changed this, I think like a year and a half ago, and most people don't notice because it'll still return results, but it doesn't do this. There are only a few platforms out there that do this. Seek Out, Human Predictions, Loxo, and there's one more, and my brain is completely blanking. I'll come back to it, and I'll let you guys know in a second when I can think of it again. LinkedIn, not one of them. So Wildcard still does work on LinkedIn and in Google search. What does it do now? The wildcard replaces a word in a phrase or multiple words. So this, not it. Let's just make sure we all know that. We do not want this. That is not the right thing. So what does it do now? Now we can use it this way. Software, try again. Why don't you use the thing? Engineer. Try again. There we go. So what will the asterisk show? So Lisa, this was the other answer to your question that I hesitated answering in that moment because it would have ruined my interaction with Mike. So an asterisk inside of the quotes is a filler for words, not letters. So what you can write on this one would bring back software development engineer, software, blah, 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 engineer, whatever it is. It will fill in words and it can do multiple. So it can be software development machine engineer, hypothetically. Software happy engineer. Yes, John, totally getting the concept. They're just words. They're not titles. I love that, right? So this is actually what the wildcard does. Why is this useful? Because too often we search for very exact terms. Right? Like human resources. You know that not everybody writes human resources. Some people may write like human benefit resources, human capital resources, human whatever the heck people are calling themselves these days. We need to open the opportunity for more to come in instead of less in our searches. Does this make sense? Wildcards. Yeah, I got some head nods. We're good. Okay, great. Here we go. Lisa, the last point to the question that you asked. What will not appear exactly as it is in quotes? Stop words. We're going to get a little into the minutia right now, but it's important you understand this. I'm going to share this sheet with you so you don't have to worry about writing all these down, not that you could anyway in the time allotted. These are called stop words. There's a list of 311 of them. Here's the thing about stop words, and I'm going to stop my sharing for 2 seconds on this one. So Boolean, pronounced Boolean, not bouillon like the cubes you put in your soup. Boolean was created by a guy by the name of George Boole, B-O-O-L-E, hence Boolean. Boolean logic, which is what we're dealing with right now, was initially put into production in elastic search, elastic like your waistband, search. When it was put in initially and used most notably by Google, it was basically used to search the entire internet, not just LinkedIn, not just for people, not just anything you can think of, for movies or food or, you know, the things that are on my mind, obviously, are movies and food. So what they wound up with back, this is, 10, 15 years ago, was that a bunch of words were slowing the searches down and were lowering the effectiveness of the AdWords. So basically when people were paying for marketing on Google for particular words to appear higher in the search, these small, seemingly nonsensical words slowed that down and ruined the algorithm. So these words were eliminated from search. So it doesn't matter if you put them in quotes or not. These do not appear in your searches. So unfortunately, as you may imagine, companies like LinkedIn and GitHub and all these other sites built their Boolean engine off of Google's Elasticsearch. It was the king. Why would you not use theirs, right? Well, problem. All of these words get eliminated, right? There's a lot. I'm still scrolling, obviously. Now, cool is that in October of 2019, Google updated their search engine that now these words, when put into quotation marks, will appear. Cool. Too late for every other company. They already built out their foundation. So on LinkedIn, none of these words will appear. Oh yeah, sorry guys. None of these words will appear. You'll have to trust me that I've just been scrolling for like God knows how long. So like you can see there's a lot of pretty common words here. They don't show up. So people who are like, I tried searching for his and him, or hers and she on LinkedIn. Yeah, those don't show up. They literally are words that do not show up in search. So let me show you an example of what I mean in case you're wondering, like, what the hell is he talking about right now? Ready for this? If we go and we're in here running a new search and we go to, I don't know, let's type in something, DevOps, engineer, current, and I just want to make the search small so we can actually see this. And let's do Detroit. How many people we got? 332 results. So ready? If I come down to keywords and I want to type in, I want them to have Scala. So these are 6 people. 6 people have the word Scala, which is a programming language, appear somewhere on their profile, right? So we're tracking so far, pretty straightforward. Okay. Hypothetically, if I were to do this, ready? With or in Scala, because now I want someone who doesn't just throw the word in their skills section. I want someone who says on their profile, I developed this in Scala. We would assume that this search result would be much lower because how many people write that specific phrase, right? But what's interesting is that it still returns exactly 6 results. Why? The word in is a stop word. It literally doesn't appear in the search. Ready? Let's try with. 6 results. With is a stop word. It literally doesn't appear in the results. It completely negates that you are writing it. That is going to be the case with every one of these words. Again, I will share this sheet with you guys so you guys have access to this and can go over to the stop word section. But none of these will appear. So keep that in mind while you're running your search, because this will absolutely mess your search up if you think these words are showing up, right? With, in, and all of these inside don't show up. So Lisa, I promise it's the last time I'm going to come back to your question about what does or doesn't appear inside of quotes. These 380 something words don't appear. Okay. Stop words. I know we're delving into the minutia, but like, do we actually understand what this means? Guys, ask questions if we don't get this. If I'm seeing glazed eyes or not getting responses, I'm going to go back over it again because this is pretty important, so that way you know what you're searching. Cool. All right. Great. Let's get into the advanced stuff. This right here. This is advanced Boolean. This is what we're going to use to X-ray for terms. So now I'm going to get into some of your guys' stuff. Guys, someone give me a role you're working on right now, a role and a location. Not everybody at once, please.
Interior designer in New Brunswick.
Yeah, New Brunswick. Dope. I forget all y'all are from New Jersey, which is so great.
I'm in Delaware.
That's right. Nobody's perfect. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Careful, Mike. I'm from Brooklyn. I just live in New Jersey. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm from New York. My family's all from the Bronx, but they live in New Jersey now, so I don't hold it over them. So, guys, we want interior designers. How many of them actually live on LinkedIn, do you think, Bruce? Like most of them, some of them, not a ton of them?
A fair number of them, yes.
Okay, but do you think all of them?
No.
Yeah. So what are we doing to try to find people who aren't on LinkedIn?
Good question.
Yeah. So here's how I think about these searches before I start them. Interior designers are basically doing what to houses, right? They're basically making houses look better, right? Making things prettier. So what social platform do you think interior designers would live on? Probably Instagram, right? Like, I love my dogs, and Instagram is where I post all of my pictures. So
Pinterest is another.
Pinterest is another. Yeah, that's a great one. It would depend on the generation for that, just to be clear.
Good point. Good point.
Most younger millennials and Gen Z are not on Pinterest anymore. Most older millennials and Gen X may or may not still keep their Pinterest up to date. So how do we search specifically through Instagram? Because if we go to Instagram and we try searching for interior designer, you are not going to get the results you think you're going to get, right? Interior fashion designer. What do we got here? Let's see what comes back. Oh, they're just images. And when I go to them, okay, now I've got to scroll through and see who's like this, it's a crazy waste of time. So how then can we search through these sites without having to go to them? This is called X-raying and is the backbone of true advanced sourcing. So ready? Check this out. Site : Instagram.com. Just like that. Now, when I hit enter, all of the results are only going to be from Instagram. What? Okay. So now let's do Instagram.com and ready? Interior designer. So now we've got Ginger Barber interior. That's a funny name. Interior design, Houston interior design, Texas interior design. Okay. Now we're getting, looks like a lot of companies.
Yes.
Great. Right. But we want in New Jersey. So we want to go and New Jersey or NJ, because some people write NJ. Now let's run a search. How many? 986. So now we've got a magazine. We've got, oh, ready? Christy Adams, New Jersey designer. Let's check out her profile. Lisa, New Jersey, interior designer. Rumi Schwartz, interior designer. Ready? Let's see what they do. Home decor, interior designer. And ready? Here's her webpage. I can actually click to go to her webpage, and I'm positive that I can find her contact information. Here's her email. Boop. And it'll actually open up to send an email. If you hover over the email icon, you'll see on the bottom left, very small, it actually has her email. It's hello@ChristyAdamsDesign.com, right? So real easy. We just logged on. Yeah, there it is. And look, her phone number. Maybe worth reaching out to and giving a call. Let's try one more, right? Modern European inspired residential design and space planning. Holy smokes. Cool.
That's just what I'm looking for.
Boom. There you go. She is right here.
You've made my month. You've made my month.
Yeah, ready? Rumi Schwartz. Email address right here.
All right.
Done. And just like that, just from a we didn't even go crazy, guys. Just a simple search right here. So let's say we want to do the same thing with what other weirder roles do we have? Can I do the same for Facebook? Yep, sure can. Let's do I want to find a weirder type of role. Director of Consumer Marketing. Those are going to be a little bit more straightforward on LinkedIn. Anybody searching for like veterinarians, vet techs, nurses, anything along those lines? Most of the stuff you guys put in here, business analyst, business intelligence analyst, direct to consumer marketing leader, stuff like that'll probably be the best on LinkedIn still to search through. But one of the ways that nurses, for sure, dope. So nurses, guys, don't typically live on LinkedIn. I know it's hard to believe, but you know where they do live? Facebook site, facebook.com, and then ready? Nurse or RN or RNP. And let's run a search. Now, again, we're seeing a whole lot of organizations. That's not what we want. We want people, right? So the next command we're going to learn is we just learned cite. Schmoot. We'll come back over here. Cite, lowercase, has to be lowercase. Write that. Has to be lowercase. Cite, and then you have your website here. So for example, facebook.com or instagram.com, whatever it is. Okay. So that's cite. That's how cite works. I wish it would stop capitalizing. Cool. So examples here, it looks exactly like this. Cite, facebook.com. Now the next one we have is going to be called in URL. In URL is what's going to help us filter a bunch of this stuff out. In URL, if we're not familiar, the URL bar is this bar up top where you see it just highlighted blue, right? Anywhere where you'd go to type in the web page, that's called your URL bar. And we can actually search directly within this bar. So when I'm looking at a search result, here's what I'm seeing. You see these little marks here? I don't know if you've ever paid attention to this. It has arrow pages, arrow other, arrow community, arrow nursing home, arrow groups, arrow. This is all the URL. They've made it pretty and easy to look at. But if you actually open, let's say this, you'll notice the word groups appears in the URL. But we don't want groups. So ready? We can do, boop, let's add this to the end. Not in URL groups. Yeah, search. Sorry, I have to use a minus sign on this one. Minus in URL, I forgot for these. Minus is the same as not. You'll see it here. Okay. It's just the dash. It's a minus sign. It's the same as not. And ready? Minus in URL, the word groups. Check it out. The word groups doesn't appear in any of these URLs. Okay. Now let's get a little more funky. Let's say we also don't want minus in URL community. Let's go minus in URL home, because I see the word home there. Minus in URL nursing, right? And I want it to be exactly the word nursing. And let's take a look now what we've got. Minus in URL, let's change this to pages.
What about organization? I see that a lot. An association.
Yeah, we can do the same thing, minus in URL organization. So what we're trying to do here is eliminate anything that isn't a person's profile. Minus in URL organization. Oh, it would help if I put the quotes after it, sorry. Boop. So it's just going to eliminate a whole bunch of all of this stuff as you go down, right? Make sense? We're good? Does this make sense? Do you need around nurse? I think I understand what you're asking, Becky. It's actually the very next thing we're getting into is the around function. And this is like the deepest, nerdiest level of sourcing we're getting to right now, guys. So I promise you, when you start trying to do this stuff, it's not going to work. I promise. When I do this stuff, it still doesn't work the first time or the second time. I have to play with it a little bit. So the biggest help on narrowing this down is actually the around function. Has to be capital. It's another operator. And what it means is word 1, around, 5, word 2. It means this word has to be within 5 words of this word. If you're thinking, what's really the point there, right? If you do software around 5 engineer, sure, yeah, this word has to appear around this number of words from this word. Yeah, okay, fine. That could mean engineer of stuff, software, right? Could mean software, bloody, 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 engineer, etc. Sure. Okay, this kind of makes sense. Hopefully we understand this piece. If not, you got to chime in right now because it's about to get a little crazier here. The way that we use around as a more complex sourcer is to find what we call anchors on a page. So if I'm on someone's profile, like mine, I want to find an anchor for where they work. So here's going to be a common thing for when people work somewhere. Their titles are going to be different. The dates are going to be different. Where they work and what they say is going to be different. But you know, a great word that always appears when people are currently doing a job? The word present. That's how it appears on every Facebook page. If you put what you do for work and that you're currently doing it, it says to present. And if you look, here's my title, and it's within a certain number of words of the word present. Right? So that's going to be my anchor on Facebook. So now I want to do this. Nurse around, I don't know, let's do like 15 from present. Why are you doing around 15? I don't know. It's just a number I picked. I could do 17 or 20. You'd have to play with it. I'm not. Oh, you ever get this message? You're doing stuff right. Google's literally like, what the heck are you doing? It's awesome. Click the box. Oh, now check it out, guys. These look like a bunch of profiles for nurses in New Jersey. Now, you want an even cooler way to do it. What if someone just has New Jersey on their profile somewhere, but they're not currently in New Jersey? Well, couldn't you just do this? New Jersey, ready? Around 15, present. Boom. Now, all of these people have both Melville, New Jersey by the word present, or New Jersey by the word present, and have nurse from the word present. I bet if I open these profiles, they are all going to currently be nurses living in New Jersey. Registered nurse, Millville Rescue Squad. Operating room, registered nurse, Cherry Creek. Yeah, sorry, Lisa, I'm hurrying as quick as I can. Nurse, Camden, New Jersey, right? All of them are nurses in New Jersey. Like what? Just from using the combination of your site search and your around search. It will drastically help you find people.
Mike, to stop you there, because you've gotten so deep and this is really great, I want to ask everyone, we're happy to extend this another 10 minutes to get a little bit more out of Mike's brain. If you would like to stay on, stay on. Mike, are you cool with staying on another 10 minutes?
I sure think so. I'll tell you in like 2 seconds. Y'all are going to see my calendar real quick. Sorry. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So if you have to hop, everyone, exactly 1 o'clock, please go with God. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. But if you'd like to stay on for another 10 minutes, Mike, you have the floor for another 8, and then we'll close it up. Thanks.
Sweet. All right, guys. So this is how we're going to search on Facebook. Now, remember, the word present is going to be our core word on Facebook. It's going to be our anchor, as we call it. Now, let's give another example, right? We just went to Instagram. Well, let's actually go back to Instagram and look at somebody's profile, like mine, for example. Boop, profile. Okay, so I want, when I'm looking for somebody, the words that I'm looking for to appear up here, right? If you tell me you're a veterinarian, I want the word to appear where you say veterinarian, blah, 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 in your bio, not tagged in some random picture. So what are words up here that would appear on everyone's profile? What do you guys think the Instagram word is to anchor you to the page? I'm not going forward. I'm actually asking you the question. What would an anchor word be that on every profile that word will appear? Every page, right, has followers and following. So I know if the word following appears, I'm looking at someone's profile, not at a picture. That's my dog. She's goofy. So for Instagram, the anchor word is going to be following. And ready? We're going to switch it up and do the same thing. Instagram. Nurse around 15 from, what did we say? Following. We're going to make this a little bit larger. We'll do 25. New Jersey around 25 from, and what was our anchor word again? Following. And we'll delete everything after this. It doesn't matter. And ready? Run our search. Boom. Let's check out what these folks do. I'm guessing, by the way, based on what it says in just the title here, they're probably nurses. Ready? RN, aesthetic nurse inject. Oh, yuck. Well, I'm getting off this profile. I can't handle the idea of Botox in my lips. Boom. RN in the ICU. Wow. Okay. This looks like a pretty solid fit. And again, nurse. Done. Awesome. Let's see where she is, right? This is her link tree. This is going to show us a whole bunch of links. Does it actually have Nurse Sarah? Check this out. Let's see if we can even get, oh my gosh, guys, we can probably get her contact information right from this page. What? This is so cool. Nice job, Nurse Sarah. You're doing great stuff. So Instagram, we're going to use the word following. And now we can search for our title and our location right there on Instagram. The last major social platform that we're going to look at, and this one I'm not answering for you guys. So we're going to sit here like absolute weirdos and just waste the last of our time until you answer this question. So looking at their profile, which is everything from here to here, what word do you think appears on every single person's profile who has a Twitter account? Oh, Mike. Yeah, buddy. The word joined. Every single person has the word joined on their profile. And if you're not totally sure about that, by the way, just click on somebody else's profile. Joined. So for Twitter, our anchor word is joined. Nurse, around 25. Joined. New Jersey, around 25. Joined. And ready? Let's go check these out.
You just have to change it to Twitter, right?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. See guys, constantly messing up. It's never going to change. There we go. Let's try this again now. So, okay, interesting. I see the word status here. I really don't want the word status to appear. What do I do? What can I add to the search so the word status doesn't appear in the URL?
Minus in URL colon status? Is that
minus in URL colon status? Boom. Sue Eva, what's up with you? Sheila Caldwell, what's up with you? Amanda Darling, what's up with you? Let's check it out. Oh, look, nurse, Hackensack. Oh, look, a school. Oh, God bless your heart. It's amazing, right? Nurse, where? New Jersey. Boom. Every time. Nice job. Thanks. Good job, Lisa. So does this make sense now as to how we're able to search through way more than just the Blue Devil? Yeah? Cool. I'm going to stop.
I have a question.
Yes, Linda, what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah. I thought you had to have an account on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram to get in there. Am I wrong?
Ready?
No.
Let's do this. Instagram, log out. Facebook. I don't remember the last time I've logged out of Facebook. It's going to be like a weird button press for me. Y'all are witnessing history for me right here. Log out. Okay, so now I'm not logged into these, right? So let's come back here and let's search on Instagram first. Yeah, remember what Lisa told you. You've got to change this. And then we want to do, our word was following and following. Boop. Now, it's prompting me to log in, but like, I certainly don't have to. Boom. And then let's try it as well with Facebook. And the word present is our anchor word on Facebook. Boom. Right here. It's gonna, again, it's asking me to log in. They always want you to log in, but nope, sure don't. You can bomb right through these. Okay.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Okay. Now, the very last thing I will show you on this is it's going to be really, really important to try to look through. We want to use the ability. So we want the ability to actually contact these people, right? It's not easy to contact someone on Instagram, by the way, particularly if you don't have an Instagram account, right? So how can we make sure that we're going to get somebody we can contact? What if we actually just search for, ready? LinkedIn.com/in. Nope. Try again. I think I may have to do it as in text. Okay. So we're going to learn a new thing. I didn't plan on teaching you this, but apparently we have to do this. It's called in text. It means exactly what you think. Search for the term in the text on the page. It's not super straightforward. I don't have to explain it. Here's the only time I ever use this, but it's super helpful. In text, LinkedIn.com/in. Why do I use that? Because I want to know if they have their LinkedIn URL on their profile. Ready? 1, 2. How do I contact her? Easy. I go like this. Boom. And here's your LinkedIn profile. How do I contact this person? Easy. I go like this. Here's your LinkedIn profile. You can also do the same thing if you wanted for gmail.com. Rich Beauty Bitch. Cool. Cool name. Let's go. I don't even know where it was. I just looked these up. Here. Dollhouse. She has never Gmail listed present. There it is. Boom. And now I'm able to find people's email addresses on each of these different pages. Does this make sense? Cool. Great, guys. I think I'm out of time.
One final question, anyone?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
All right, this has been fantastic. So I have to say, I learned more today in just an hour than I have about Boolean search in the past 2 years that I've been hearing about it. So I can't thank you enough. I want to give everyone the opportunity. Mike, we can't thank you enough for your time, your expertise, and going over the time that allotted. So thank you for that. If you all are interested in connecting with Mike Cohen and or his company, I've just shared his email address and his website in the chat. But of course, you all know how to find him, whether he likes it or not, from these Boolean searches.
That's right.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And I really want to thank you all too, because your time, energy, and your participation is really what made today's learning possible. So before we head out, just want to mark your calendars for SMA's virtual networking event on June 30th. Come to connect, share, learn, and for a chance to win prizes. You won't want to miss it. And on that note, stay in touch. We'll continue bringing value, and we'd love to hear your thoughts for future programming. So message SMA on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook. If you're not a member yet, join our chapter and spread the word. SMA is here to support your recruiting efforts with relevant content and human connections. So stay safe, everyone. Enjoy the summer ahead, and we'll see you soon.